This is Infinite Inside, a VR and MR puzzler where you must unravel the mysteries of the plinth, a mysterious kind of column that appears in your own home that takes you to an entirely different realm. This releases July 12th, 2024 for the PCVR, PSVR, Quest, Pico, and Apple Vision Pro headsets for $13 US. And for this review, we checked out the game on the Quest 3 and the PSVR 2. It's worth noting that both versions play a little differently, so pay attention, as one version is superior to the other. Hello puzzle lovers. Before we get to it, if you enjoy our content, a thumbs up really helps us out. Subscribing keeps you up to date on our content, and if you're so inclined, leave us a comment with your thoughts on this release. I'm Ryan for the VR Grid. Now let's do this. I wasn't sure what to expect from Infinite Inside, but after watching the trailer, I was intrigued and was looking forward to playing a unique and kind of cool looking puzzler. What I got instead was an experience way more stripped back than I expected, with puzzles that are either too simple or just too boring. But let's start at the beginning. So I played the PSVR 2 version first, and I was immediately taken back by the node-based movement system and click-turning only options. The node-based stuff I can forgive because this is a mixed reality experience built with the Apple Vision Pro in mind, but click-turning only really hampered immersion. Anyways, on the PSVR version, you are in a virtual room where a plinth appears before you, which is basically a column built of small stones that move around and reveal hidden secrets, allowing you to kind of build some small puzzles, kind of in Puzzling Places style, where you just have to find the way the pieces fit and build more and more complicated 3D puzzles, all to make a specific shape. Once you've made said shape, you place it inside the slot on the plinth. To get those pieces though, you have to go inside the plinth and start navigating through it. This is where the node-based stuff comes in, looking for the pieces hidden throughout each stage. Thing is that they're really not that hard to find, at least in most of the stages, as you basically just go from node to node, maybe open up some stone drawers and cupboards, and then move along. A little device on your wrist tells you how many pieces you need to find. Once you found them all, simply find a station with a miniature version of yourself, grab it, and you're back in the real world. This will change up a little bit in the later stages. You have to go even deeper into the plinth, making yourself even smaller, which I thought was actually kind of cool. Very much reminded me of The Fisherman's Tale, and the surreal nature of the plinth really does make everything look pretty cool. It's a striking looking game for sure, and it looks great in either headset. But with just how limiting the controls and puzzles are, I found the whole game to be kind of dull. There are 5 stages to get through, with the game taking roughly 3 hours or so, though on the PSVR version, I did experience some extra jank. Using the Sense controllers, I found activating the nodes to teleport myself around the map to be finicky at best, and because it's corded, I hate to say this, it just made turning in the real world a little bit tricky, given how much you have to turn back and forth so often so quickly. And with click turning being the only way to play this, it felt like a game built for VR 7 years ago. On the PSVR 2 version, I also hit a couple glitches that forced a full level reset, or in the last stage, I actually couldn't finish a puzzle because the pieces wouldn't click together, but honestly by that point, I guess it's the epilogue level, by that point I was honestly done with the game, as that epilogue stage just makes you rebuild the same puzzles you already built, plus a few more extra ones, but that's honestly just not that fun. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game, I just found the game to be more of a glorified experience than an actual game. Now, as far as the Quest 3 version goes, I was pleasantly surprised by the mixed reality content, as it did make the game better. With the mixed reality turned on, the plinth appears in your actual room, which I thought was kind of a cool effect, and where the PSVR version has you having to grab the plinth to kind of spin it around you and move it up and down, in the Quest version, you can just walk around the thing, which I thought worked really well. On the Quest 3, you could also use hand tracking as opposed to a controller, which I thought worked alright, though it was a bit finicky, and I ended up kind of going back to the controller, which just worked better. But on the Quest 3, I experienced none of the jank the PSVR 2 version has. Even just navigating from node to node just felt easier with just less fuss, and overall made for a more organic experience and just made the game flow better. Now, I touched on it before, but the actual stages are pretty cool, pretty surreal, and the game looks great across either headset. In fact, I'd say they're almost identical across PSVR 2 or Quest 3, with Quest 3 benefiting from that slight resolution bump. But honestly, both versions in my mind are comparable and damn near equal, which I was a little disappointed by, just given the fact that PSVR 2, I expected, more dynamic lighting, that kind of thing. But that's just me whining. The game looks really good across either headset, and I don't think people will be disappointed by the presentation. Audio-wise, there's not a lot to talk about, with most of the music being kind of ambient in the background, with the occasional effect when you put together puzzle pieces or place something down. There's not much happening, which is fine. I mean, it all lends itself well to the, look and feel of the game. So it's here, it works. There's no issues with the audio, as far as I can tell anyways. I know I slagged the game a bit, and I stand by what I said, as the game really was boring. My 2.5, 3 hours in there was just tedious. It's the best word I got for it. The shape puzzles are simple, and they do get more challenging, but they're also kind of more frustrating and not that fun when you just sit there like just trying to put shapes together until they finally kind of click into place. It just kind of gets old, especially when they get more and more complex, and they don't like they're tough. They do get hard to find those first two pieces, and once you get the first two, usually the rest fall into place. But it just kind of got old, and exploring these other realms, it's fun to look around, and it's cool to see this kind of this world they've created. There's some kind of story happening. It totally went over my head. I mean, I went to the game's description, and it says here assemble the keys to unlock the mysteries of a secret society committed to maintaining the balance of order and chaos. I got none of that from this story. Now, granted, I didn't complete the epilogue because I was so tired of the game. And I mean, I beat the game, I beat the story. I just didn't get through this last chapter that made me replay all the puzzles I was sick of in the first place. But, you see this kind of like this apparition of this guy, or I guess multiple guys, as I found out. So previous explorers of the plinth, and they're just kind of doing random things. I actually thought it was like my past, and like maybe my guy was like dying of cancer, and so he was like going through memories or like something. I had no idea. Like the narrative is so like loose, unless it all comes together at the very, 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 very end of the game. It's kind of weird, and it kind of just left me with a game that I didn't care about. It's just dull. It looks cool. I've played these kind of puzzles before, so it's not like it's not bad. It's nothing fresh and new. The mixed reality stuff does make the Quest version better. PSVR 2 does suffer from some jank, and unfortunately, you may have to restart a stage, which, depending on where you're at, might be a bit of work. But each stage, once you kind of know what you're doing, where you're looking, it goes by very fast the second time. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an alright puzzler. I'm not going to say it's a bad game. It's not a bad game. It's a smaller scale puzzler, which is great because the price in this thing is $13, which I think is probably still an alright price considering the content. Just temper expectations and just kind of know this is more of a chill, relaxed, and casual puzzler with a bit of visual flair. I'm going to give Infinite Inside for the PSVR 2 a 6 out of 10, and for the Quest 3 a 6.5. It's a budget puzzler tailored towards mixed reality headsets. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to do all the YouTube things to help us out. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching.